Hi, everyone. This is Mrs. Kim, and welcome to Mrs. Kim's Building Blocks. Today, we're going to have art lessons. Let's have an art lesson about Norman Rockwell. He is a very famous painter. This is one of his paintings called The Problem We All Live With. What are the lessons that we can learn from Norman Rockwell and from this painting? Norman Rockwell teaches us that the center of the picture is the most important. In the painting, you know that the most important part is the young girl. How do we know the girl is the focus? Because she is the only one that we can clearly see. Why is this young girl so important? For a long time, Norman Rockwell drew many pictures. Look at these pictures. What do you notice about the people in them? Do you see any African Americans in these pictures? After painting many paintings like these, he wanted to change the focus of his pictures, especially in the painting that we are looking at today. Norman Rockwell decided to paint pictures about people from other parts of the world so that people in the United States would learn to appreciate and respect people of all skin colors and cultural backgrounds. In this painting, he reminds people of this by including the golden rule, which says, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you," which means that we should treat others as we would want other people to treat us. The second lesson that we learn from Norman Rockwell is about history. Artists can paint what happens in history and can tell people a very important message. In our painting for today, the young girl shown in the picture is Ruby Bridges. The young and beautiful girl in the painting is Ruby Bridges. This is a photograph of the real Ruby Bridges. She was the first African American child to go to William Frantz Elementary School. Two other African American children were supposed to go too, but they didn't, and she had to go by herself. Why is that important? Ruby was the first child to go to a school that normally did not welcome African American children. Until the 1950s, African American children were not allowed to go to some schools just because they had a darker skin color. When people do this to other people, this is called racism. This doesn't follow the golden rule, right? Some people wanted to keep other people separated or treated other people badly based on the color of their skin, and they did very bad things to keep it that way. Ruby Bridges went to school even though it was very dangerous. It was so dangerous that she had to have these special policemen protect her every day. That is what we're seeing in the painting for today. It took a long time and the strength of many courageous people. Laws were slowly changed to allow all children to go to any school. Ruby Bridges is a hero because even though she was young, only 6 years old, she was very strong and very brave, and she helped people to see the right things to do. We all can learn from her and be like her. The painter Norman Rockwell painted this picture to help people to remember so that we would not do the same bad things again in this country. We may not like to look at pictures of bad things that happened in history, but these paintings can help us to know that such bad things should not happen again. Norman Rockwell also teaches us that the title of the painting can be important too. The title of the painting is The Problem We All Live With. The bad things happening to African Americans need to end. It is a big problem, not only for African Americans, but for other people in this country and around the world. It is a problem that we all have to face. If someone is not treated fairly, then it is a problem for all of us. When we let other people get treated unfairly, when we allow some people to continue to suffer, and when we let people continue doing bad things and hurting others. The title tells us that Americans were living and are still living with this problem, and this is a problem that Americans must solve and end. The bad things happening to African Americans back then had to stop, and the problem of racism must stop today. We must remember to stand up for others. Let's review our lessons that we learned from the artist Norman Rockwell, as well as Ruby Bridges today. The center of the picture shows us what the painter thinks is important. From this painting, we know that the most important part of the painting is Ruby Bridges. Number 2, we can paint about history so that we can remember. From the story of Ruby Bridges, we learned that we cannot let the same bad things happen again, even now. Number 3, the title of the painting can tell us a message from the painter. He wants us to know that racism is not a problem only for African Americans or for the people being treated badly, but it is a problem for all of us. Now it's our turn. Do you have your copy of The Problem We All Live With? And some crayons or markers, color pencils or paint? If you don't, it's okay. When you color this picture, I want you to do your very best because Ruby Bridges and the history she made are important. When I paint my picture, I want to make sure that I can make the girl in the painting look as beautiful and brave as the real Ruby Bridges. I'm going to stop here because our time together is almost up. You can finish after our time together. Please make sure to finish and think about Ruby Bridges and how we can all be brave like her. I would love to see your work. I have an empty picture frame waiting for your artwork. If you want, please contact Mrs. Kim at Mrs. Kim's Building Blocks and please send me a picture of your painting. I will show your painting on Mrs. Kim's Building Blocks, and that's because I want to brag about you. Okay? Okay. You know what? Time is up. I had such a great time with you today. Before we go, remember, Mrs. Kim thinks that you are so special, so sweet, so smart, and so artistic. Thank you so much for coming today, and I hope to see you next time at Mrs. Kim's Building Blocks. Bye-bye. I'll miss you and see you soon.